about cultivating self-love. Let me just turn this up a little bit. Super important. I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with. That's at the core of, why do I feel insecure? Why do I have a lack of confidence? Why don't I feel worthy for these different things? A lot of it has to do, at the core foundationally, is that we do not love ourselves. And I think a lot in society, there's conditioning that pushes women perhaps away from loving ourselves. I think with a lot of social media nowadays, we see other people and what other people have and think about maybe what we don't have. But you know what the thing with that is too, is there's so much that is not true online, which I think we're all aware of, but sometimes we forget that. And so, anyways, it's so not helpful to compare ourselves to what we see online. But the other side of that, and the purpose of our conversation today, is how do we cultivate self love? Let me just start one thing here. And all right, we are off to the races. Okay, everyone. Hi, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Let me know where you're tuning in from, and maybe let me know one thing that you struggle with in terms of self-love. Do you feel like you have good self-love? Do you feel like it's something that's lacking for you? Do you feel like you used to have good self-love and now you don't have it anymore? So I'd really love to hear from you guys. But okay, let's get into it. How to cultivate self-love. Number one thing to keep in mind that's really important is our brain, and neuroscientists have actually proved this now, is our brain does not know how to distinguish what information is true versus what information is false. And so our brain just thinks that whatever information we tell it the most is the truth. So what's really interesting about that is something like affirmations and speaking love into ourselves. So for example, I am worthy, I love myself, I love my body, I am courageous, I am confident, I am a divine being of light. There's so many different ways that we can do affirmations depending on what your goals are, but something like that, I know that it sounds silly, but it's actually so helpful because, again, whatever you repeat most to your brain is what your brain believes is true. So if you're like number one step for self-love is you have to be so aware of what is the narrative that your brain is running off of. What is the internal narrative? What do you say to yourself? Do you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, like this doesn't look right. Like I look so weird. I look fat. I look ugly. Or do you look in the mirror and you're like, dang, mama, like, okay, like you look awesome today. And sometimes I know that we don't always feel confident, but the things that we say really matter because, again, our brain takes whatever it gets told the most as the truth, and that's the narrative that it runs off of. And so even if you don't believe it initially, it creates, like, saying positive things about yourself, speaking love into yourself creates new neural networks that then those become your new reality. And so another thing that I encourage all of you guys to do, it's really beautiful nails, thank you. It feels so uncomfortable, but this is my challenge to you today. Can you look in the mirror and say something beautiful out loud to yourself? Say, I love myself. I am so beautiful. I feel hot and sexy in this outfit. Whatever it is, say something loving to yourself because, again, it really matters. In the neuroscience, it really matters the things you say to yourself. And so that's number one, right? How to cultivate self-love. Become aware of what are the patterns, what are the internal narratives that you're operating on, and then take ownership over them. Say, you know what? No, I don't look fat. I don't look ugly. I'm not going to say that anymore to myself because that actually has lasting implications for my mental health. So what I'm going to say instead is I'm beautiful. I love myself. Truly, like, say that to yourself every single night before you go to bed. I love you. If you're a journaler, end your journal entries with that. I end my journal entries with, I love myself, I love my body, I'm a divine being of light. Whatever it is for you, like, say that every day. Thank you for the gifts, guys. Say that every day. Because, again, the things that you say the most, your brain takes as truth. Okay? So if you say things, oh, like, even if you're joking, you're like, oh, I'm so dumb. Don't say that. Do not say that. That has legitimate implications on how you view yourself and then how you show up in the world. And say, no, Okay, maybe I didn't figure this thing out, but you know what? I'm resilient and I'm smart and I'm resourceful and I'm going to figure this out. And if you need someone to speak that encouragement into you, send me an email, support@rawmotivations.com. I'd love to chat with you. I'd love to work with people and clients around this of like, be your own number one best cheerleader. Because guess what? If you're not going to be your number one best cheerleader, if you don't have that belief in yourself, why should anyone else have that belief in you? Truly. If we don't love ourselves as number one first, and people are like, oh, that's so selfish. Bull crap. That's not selfish. That's what's necessary to love ourselves first. Why should anyone else love or respect us if we do not love ourselves? So I don't know where this came in society of like, oh, it's selfish to love yourself. Oh, you're so conceited. That is such BS. Like, I'm sorry, I'm so done of living that. Like, I'm not going to take that anymore. And I'm not going to let other women take that either. Other women, other people, but I think as women specifically, we really struggle with this. Okay, how many people, say me in the chat if this is you, how many people have a negative voice in their head that sounds like one of their exes or sounds like this kid that was mean to them when they were younger, someone that bullied them? No more. We are not going to let those people live in our heads anymore. Like, no. Okay? Okay, yeah, me's in the chat, me in the chat. To correct what's wrong, you've got to be honest with yourself. Yeah. All right, I'm not going to read all of these right now because I just want to keep going in this, but I hope you guys are liking this. Okay, so that's like number one. That was a little bit of a tangent, but that's number one for how to cultivate self-love, okay? The narratives that you tell yourself matter, speaking affirmations into yourself, okay? Next thing is actually care about how you present yourself to the world, okay? Like, care about, like, do your hair or dress cute in a way that makes you feel cute. Don't do anything for anyone else, do it for you. Okay, I'm kind of having a crazy hair day today, but usually I like to do my hair, do a little bit of makeup. I obviously like to get my nails done because I want to feel confident in my own skin. And sometimes that's a little bit of faking it before you make it. Okay, sometimes that's a little bit like, oh, this isn't really what I'm used to. I'm used to being, more like cozy, or maybe I go out in like sweatshirts and my pajamas or whatever. Like, dress to the level that you want people to love and respect you. And then you start to, like, it starts first with loving and respecting yourself in that. Okay? Other ways to cultivate self-love. Do not tolerate toxic people or people that say negative things to you. Don't tolerate those people in your life. I'm putting together a free boundaries challenge right now. It's going to be 5 days of live coaching. I'm super excited to share it with you guys when I have it, but that's like a huge piece of it. If someone is not respecting you, don't have that person in your life. Or if it's like family or whatever, and you kind of need to still have a relationship, set the boundaries. Because again, if you don't love and respect yourself first, and if you if you tolerate people treating you disrespectfully, like, that's showing that you don't think you're worth respect. Okay? So like, boundaries are a huge part of self-love, but it's kind of a chicken or the egg situation, because if you don't have a strong level of self-love, then you're going to let people walk all over you because you're like, oh yeah, like, you're right. Like, I don't deserve strong boundaries. I don't deserve, like, my voice doesn't matter. And so, like, we first have to work on the self-love and then bring the boundaries piece into it, but it's like very closely tied together. And it feels uncomfortable at first, right? And so that's also like, when you're talking about setting boundaries, practice what you're going to say. Practice different scenarios. I do this for like all challenging conversations that I have. I get really clear and centered and grounded and calm about, like, okay, what am I actually going to say in this situation? What are the potential outcomes that could happen, and how am I going to handle that? And again, this is why like nervous system regulation stuff is super important, because it's like, we need to speak these and have these conversations from a calm and grounded place. And so, okay, questions about self-love. I am going to, okay. I'm gonna see, does anyone have like questions about this? I would love to answer any questions. Okay. Yeah, but do you call toxic people those who speak negative the same folks who are just telling you the truth? Okay, that's a really good question. How to distinguish toxic people from people that tell the truth? Well, first of all, I think even if you have something hard for someone to hear, if it's grounded in truth, I definitely don't think that's a toxic thing. Like, I will say hard things to the people that I love. That's hard for me to say and hard for them to hear because I want the best for them and I want them to grow and thrive. And so you have to think about if someone is saying something negative. First of all, what does that even mean? Like, is it negative because it's hard to hear? Because that's not the same as negative. If someone's speaking down to you, yeah, that's negative, and I don't appreciate that. But if someone's saying something that's challenging for me to hear because it's for my betterment and my growth, yeah, 100%, I'm going to accept that. And that's not a toxic person. That's someone that loves me enough to be honest with me. Does that make sense? Um, and I think like, okay, if someone speaks, so let's walk through an example of this. If someone's speaking negative to me, a kind of silly example of that, but one that came to mind is like, oh, like you don't look good in that outfit, or like, oh, I don't like, you don't look good today. What's the intention of that? If I'm say already out in public and I'm already dressed in this outfit, that there's nothing that serves me in you saying that other than to like hurt me and make me feel bad about myself. Now, if someone said like, hey, like you look like I prefer you, or I think these colors, orange, whatever, match your skin tone better than like yellow. I don't think yellow like is a really great color for you. That's constructive. That's helpful. That might be hard to hear if I like to wear yellow or whatever. But that's helpful information because like, oh, okay, like, yeah, maybe that's not my color. Maybe I can reevaluate that. So does that help uh, make it any easier? Okay. Hope that helps. What do you think about elevation? I don't know what you mean by that. Elevation, I live at elevation. I live on top of a mountain. That matters. How do you meditate? This is a good question too. There are so many different forms of meditation. There's sitting in meditation, there's walking meditation, there's like meditation where you look around, there's meditation through dance and moving your body. So it really depends on what type of meditation resonates with you. And I think the outcome in meditation is how can you like introspect and just have some like help calm your body. So for example, someone that has a massive amount of anxiety or someone that is in the center of a panic attack or their body in their nervous system feels very unsafe to them, I would definitely not recommend meditation to that person. Hey, go sit and be quiet and just sit with yourself because their body's not a safe space for them. And so you have to know what is the goal, what is the level that the person is starting from, and then what is the goal, what are they trying to achieve out of this. And so that's such a broad question. How do you meditate? There's many different ways to meditate. There's ways where you're sitting still and there's ways that you're walking around. Just depends on the person and their goal and what they're trying to do. I get it. Truth doesn't mean disrespectful. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and the other thing I'll say with that is if you have a hard time with people telling you the truth when it hurts, there's some work there for you to do internally. There's some work for you to look at and like, okay, why is this hurtful if someone's telling me the truth? And it's hard, right? Like I think all of us can agree that it is hard to accept criticism, even when it's coming from a loving place. And a lot of times, people, when they're giving us constructive criticism, people aren't the best at delivery either. But we can also take criticism from people. This is where discernment is really important. And it's like, okay, do I respect this person? Do I trust their opinion? Do they have my best interest in mind? And do I have to take into consideration or integrate the things that they're saying? Because a lot of people will give us criticism freely all the time. It doesn't mean that all of it's coming from a loving place or all of it's helpful or that we have to accept all of it. It's discernment that, and I talked about discernment the other day, but it's really important too. Like, have discernment. Have discernment of the people in your life. Have discernment of the people you ask for advice from. Have discernment of whose opinions you actually take into consideration and care about. Because a lot of people's opinions aren't worth it. Like, I'm not going to take someone's opinion seriously if I don't respect that person, period. And there's a lot of things that go into me respecting a person, and there's many people that I respect, but there's also a lot of people that are going to offer and have offered their opinions to me that I do not respect. And so it doesn't even matter. It's just like rolls off of me. I think so often people get so stuck too on, oh, this person said this and this, but who cares? Who cares? If someone thinks negatively about you, let them. Let them. Where it matters is if then that gets inside your head. Don't let it get inside your head. Okay? We only all have so much capacity in our brains to like for the people that matter and their opinions matter. So don't give someone who's so disconnected from your life more capacity in your brain that they deserve. And so I would, this is an encouragement to you. Like, think about who are the people's opinions who live in your head. Do they deserve to be there? Do you respect them? Do they have your best interest in mind? And like, if the answer is no to any of those questions, then who cares what people say? People are always going to have an opinion, something to say. There's always going to be people that critique you or criticize you. And guess what? Most of the time when people criticize you, it's not about you. It's about an insecurity inside of them that they are projecting onto you. And so why are you letting it get to you? You know, we had a question the other day about resentment, and it's kind of similar, right? If we resent someone or something, that's not doing any harm to the person. They can be blissfully ignorant to that, especially if it's someone that isn't in our life anymore. That resentment is doing nothing to them. Conversely, that resentment is doing a lot to us. It is causing negativity inside of us. It is manifesting physically in our body as like darkness that can lead to illness and disease and inflammation and these different things. So why are you holding on to resentment? That is not serving you. It's actually doing a disservice to you, but it's not doing anything to that other person. And there's like a lot of negative emotions like this, something like shame, guilt. I'm working through shame right now in different ways, and it's a heavy one to work through. It's really heavy. But holding on to these things, it's not serving us. And it's not serving us to grow into the person that we want to become or the person that God is choosing us to be. So what's the purpose on holding on to these things? Nothing. Right? Like people that hold on to grudges for a really long time, what's the point of holding on to this grudge? Because I guarantee you it's going to do a lot more harm to you than it is to that other person. And so, okay. Wise words, my pale queen. Thank you. All right, I'm just going to scroll up real quick to see always having faith. Hello. God bless you. Jesus Christ brings me peace. Okay. Jesus is the key. All the problems go away we have in our lives. Okay. Great. Just wanted to see if there was any questions to address. So coming back to our conversation on self-love. Okay. So to recap, we talked about the things, the narratives in your mind matter. Affirmations are hugely important. Exercise, encouragement to all of you, get in front of the mirror and say something positive to yourself. And then we talked about like confidence and boundaries and why boundaries and self-love are so connected. Okay, other aspects of self-love. I think it really matters how we show up in the world. Are you living in alignment with the person that you feel God has called you to be? And are you living in alignment with someone that like you actually respect yourself? And you are actually proud of how you're showing up? Because I think a lot of times we're not living in that alignment, or we feel less than for different ways. And so I think it's important to look at, you don't have to feel less than, but you do need to evaluate what are the things in my life that are out of alignment with my values and out of alignment with the person that I want to be. And so, you know, this is another thing that I do with clients. I'm happy to share with anyone that would like to walk through this exercise, but it's really getting clear, first of all, on our values. What are our guiding principles, our core values in life that really matter? And then from our values, we set like our priorities. What are my priorities in life? So for me, my priorities are God, my family, my health, and living a purposeful life. Feeling like I'm positively contributing to society and that I'm living in the purpose that I feel like God has called me to be. And so then once I have those things set, it's really easy to see, okay, today did I live in alignment with my values and the things that I said are important to me? Where am I out of alignment with that? And that's not to like feel a lot of shame or guilt or, oh, I'm a bad person because I didn't live in alignment with my values today, but it's to give us something to come back to and reflect on so that we can always keep improving. And not like, oh, now I'm this unworthy, shame-filled person. Like, no, now, okay, now I just have something to work on tomorrow to be 1% better tomorrow than I was yesterday. Because that's what really matters, right? Who are we competing against? No one but ourselves in the past version of us. And so I think, can we just remember that? Can I be 1% better tomorrow than I was today? And what does that look like? Because your 1% better is going to look different than my 1% better. So again, why am I going to compare myself to anyone else? Can I just love myself in this journey that I'm on? Have compassion for the past versions of me that made really bad decisions because I didn't have good tools. The past version of me that got into promiscuity or addiction or harming myself, different ways of numbing out, all of these things. Like, I have so much compassion for that past version of myself. I don't judge myself for that. I was in a lot of pain and I didn't have good tools or understanding for how to navigate it. And so if you're stuck in a bad situation in life, if you're stuck in a bad relationship or whatever, don't beat yourself up for it because that's not going to solve anything. Have compassion for the pain that got you into that place. And now look for the tools and resources and support to help yourself get out of it. Because it is possible. And I also truly, truly believe, I'm such a firm believer in God does not give you mountains that he doesn't think you can climb. So even through our hardest trials and tribulations in life, it's not that he abandons us. It's that he is calling us to be more. And so really, like, what is one thing that you can do today to pour love into yourself and to be 1% better tomorrow? And again, it's not from a shameful place. It's not from a guilty place. We're not going to get in our heads and be self-deprecating. It's from a place of love. And it's from a place of, I'm going to be 1% better tomorrow because I love myself so much and I'm worth that. I'm going to be 1% better tomorrow because I respect myself and that is what I deserve. And I'm not going to tolerate or deserve anything else. Okay? All right, I'm going to scroll up. I'm going to have to go here in a second. I have to go to the dentist. But I'm going to see if there is any good questions. I'm still laughing so hard at the wise words, my pale queen. I hope you're still in here. Thank you. That was my favorite comment from today. Okay. You need a hot tub. We do need a hot tub. Guys, wouldn't this be awesome if we could just do lives with like just chilling in a hot tub? Obviously it would be appropriate, but then just like massive mountains behind me because I do have mountains in my backyard. Seeking certain groups of keys to an understanding, like the book 3 Keys, Peace, Good. Yeah, right? Like coming back to, what are your values? What are the things that drive you? And honestly, in the hundreds of people that I've worked with, a lot of people don't have their values clearly defined. And so if that's you, that's okay, right? We're not going to get self-deprecating again, but it's like, okay, that's a good place to start. What are the values that are important to you in life? And by values, I mean, like, you can literally Google, look up like a list of values. It's like integrity, honesty, truthfulness, compassion, forbearance, justice. So many. Just look up and think of like, okay, what are like top 10 values? that really resonate with me, and then go from there. Like, okay, what are the top like 5 values? And really, sorry, I need to stop looking at comments, but really like narrow it down, and then like, okay, these are the things that I am declaring are important to me, and put them somewhere that you see them like every day. Like, really don't just like be, oh, cool, that was a cool exercise I did one time. No, like actually start living it. Integrate it into your everyday. If you have kids or you're married or whatever, create family values, right? Like, what are the values for your family? What are the things that your family has decided these are always the most important to us? And then how do you come back to that? How do you teach that into day to day with your kids? How do you model that for them? Okay, really quick story time, and then I have to go to the dentist. But okay, when I was a teenager, I went to this like really fancy schmancy boarding school, and I had really, really bad mental health problems. I was struggling so hard. I didn't know how to ask for help the right way, so I was just like spiraling out of control, basically. And they didn't like that, right? Because they're all about like reputation and upholding things. And so I had gotten on probation. So then if you like do one more thing against the rules, if you break another rule once you're on probation, then you get kicked out. And so I broke this like really stupid rule, and basically my dad could have lied for me to save me so I didn't get kicked out. And he said, "No, I'm not going to lie for you. You did the wrong thing, and now you have to feel the consequences of your actions." And this was like a very expensive, exclusive school that my dad had already put a lot into. And this was like my senior year around Thanksgiving break. And he was like, "I'm not going to lie for you because my integrity and my values are more important to me. And what lesson am I going to teach you if I lie for you in this? That it's okay to lie to get what we want. And that's not how I raised you." And it's seriously one of the coolest, one of the hardest, for sure, one of the hardest lessons I've ever learned in life, but one of the coolest ones ever. Because he really modeled for me, wow, we are nothing without our values and our integrity. And so I'm so grateful for that. And that is a lesson that has stuck with me. And now it leads into how I want to raise my child and future children one day. So great. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. And yeah, I will talk to you guys soon. Okay.